Ninjago as a show is no stranger to contention, and there's probably some more interesting recent stuff that I could cover, but rather than looking forward into the future, I say, let's go back to the past, to something that feels like a lifetime ago. 2016, gosh, 2016 was 6 years ago. The 6th season of Ninjago Skybound, came out in 2016 and ever since has been a point of division among fans. Depending on who you ask, it's either one of the best seasons or one of the worst. I've talked to people who habitually watch this as a comfort season and other people who purposely skip it every time they rewatch the show. But despite all of this confusion, the weirdest part of it might be the small subsect of people who don't understand why anyone wouldn't like it. Anyway, as someone who doesn't care for this season in particular, I figured I would break it down for them. And for you. And for everyone. Let's go through everything. The good, the bad, the weird, the boring, the giant plot holes. Let's do it together. And if you don't know anything about this season or even the whole show, don't worry, I am here to guide you through the chaos. And if you are familiar with the season, even better, you know what we're in for. So join me on this adventure, me hearties. It's a pirate season, in case you don't know.
Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go.
Yeah, I'm not doing this whole video with the eye patch. Now, let me preface this video by saying, if you like Skybound, that's fine. You do you. More power to you. Don't let me dissuade you. There are parts of this season I like. I mean, it's still Ninjago. I'll still watch it. I watched it for this video. But I am just here to point out that it does have a lot of flaws. And no, it's not just the ending. I know a lot of people like to pin all the blame on the ending, but there's a lot more going on here. Regardless of how you're coming into this video, I'm not here to change your opinion. I am just here to share my perspective and hopefully build some bridges of understanding. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with the show, Ninjago is about these Lego ninja with elemental powers who defeat assorted bad guys and crack one-liners.
Not so fast! Really? That's the best you got?
Important for you to know for this video, Nia is the newest member of the team, having joined in the previous season, despite being introduced in the pilot episode of the show, but that's another video. Anyway, she dated Jay, who's the protagonist of this season, this guy. She broke up with him a while back thanks to a very convoluted love triangle involving another team member, Cole, but Jay's been kind of clingy about her ever since, due in part to him seeing the future last season, where they supposedly end up together. Now, in case you haven't seen it or you need a refresher, I'm gonna go through the whole plot just so we're all on the same page about what happens in this season.
This is the tale of Captain Jack Sparrow.
We open on the ninja filming a TV show. They're famous now. Sure, they catch wind that this ghost escaped from the afterlife and is trying to release a djinn, essentially a genie, but instead of stopping him, they get distracted by this Make-A-Wish kid, and they don't make it in time to stop him. Important to remember, there's this weird moment where, like, Nia refuses to take Jay's hand so he can help her, like, hide from the paparazzi, I guess, because he can do this little fly-y thing, but she can't. But she doesn't want to hold his hand because they have cooties, and so they get spotted. Anyway, turns out this djinn dude, Nauticon, grants you wishes, but he twists them up all funky, and if he can convince you to wish it all away, then he can magically trap you. Ooh. He ends up framing the ninja for being, like, comically evil, and so the ninja are now on the run from the police. The bulk of episode 2 is made up of the police commissioner teaming up with this bounty hunter dude Ronin to capture the now fugitive ninja, and they do quite easily. In episode 3, the ninja are in prison and break out of prison with the help of Captain Soto, the guy who trapped Nauticon in the teapot to begin with. He also gives them a hint about this special venom that can stun a djinn that they'll probably need if they want to defeat him. Meanwhile, Nauticon regathers his crew from across multiple dimensions before going to visit his home dimension and realizing, uh-oh, it's actively right now being destroyed because plot reasons. Episode 4, the ninja are on the run again. They are now searching for a map that will lead them to the venom. Jay ends up alone and having an encounter with Nauticon in which he's tricked into wishing he was born rich to try and impress Nia. This leads to a really strange reveal in which we learn that Jay is adopted and that his birth father was actually his favorite movie actor who also just died today and left him everything. And this isn't like wish shenanigans, this is canon. He was always adopted. And I guess all the Nauticon wish did was make his dad die? Jay blows his second wish on pretty much nothing, and the ninja end up fighting Nauticon and his sky pirates as they begin to terrorize Ninjago. After a series of convoluted wishes, Nauticon convinces another one of the ninja, Kai, who's Nia's brother, to wish it all away. But the ninja do get a hold of the map. Episode 5 turns out Nauticon's plan is to lift up chunks of Ninjago into the sky so he can recreate his home realm. The ninja follow the map to the island with the venom. Along the way, Nauticon convinces another one of the ninja, this time Zane, the robot one, to wish it all away. He does this by deleting his digital girlfriend Pixel. It's complicated. They get to the island, get the venom, but wouldn't you know it, Nauticon and his squad are there too. Much fighting, all the drama. The pirates end up kidnapping Jay, and the others are left on the island with the venom that Nauticon doesn't know they have, but they're also left stranded without a way to get back. Episode 6, Jay is very sad on the pirate ship. Frowny face. Also, he learns that the reason Nauticon wants to remake his realm is that if he can marry on Jin land, he's granted the power of infinite wishes for himself. And wouldn't you know it, he wants to marry Nia, cause she just so happens to look like his long-lost love. The other ninja try to build a raft off the island, but end up being saved by Ronin Ex Machina. Episode 7, the ninja form a plan to go save Jay, but it ends with all of them being captured. They try to escape in the scene where they're all desperately using wishes to try and get the upper hand, and that all ends with Nia and Jay being the only ones to escape, with Lloyd, now super old and wise, prophesying that Jay will save them with a final wish from the heart. Episode 8, Jay and Nia hide out in this lighthouse where Zane's inventor used to live. There, they hatch a plan and meet Zane's long-lost clone, Echo Zane, who I guess has just been hanging out in the lighthouse for years. After Nia has a heart-to-heart with Jay about needing to feel like she has a choice in her own life, they decide that wishing that Nauticon wasn't a djinn is probably their best move. The lighthouse is attacked, and Nia makes her big choice that she felt like she needed to make, to be kidnapped in order to let Jay escape. Episode 9, after a pep talk from his actual parents, Jay forms the Ninja Replacement Team, made up of a bunch of fun side characters from this and past seasons to stage a rescue. By the end of the episode, they've released all of the trapped characters for the finale. Yay! And in the final episode, the ninja all try to stop the wedding, but it's too late. Nauticon is all-powerful, and there's no stopping him. But wait! They have the venom, remember? They shoot the venom at him, but uh-oh, it splashes on Nia, and it's fatal to humans. Oh no! If Jay wishes for Nauticon to not be a djinn, then Nia will certainly die. But he holds her in his arms, has a good cry, and wishes from the heart.
I wish you had taken my hand and no one ever found that teapot in the first place.
So the entire plot of the season gets reversed. Like the whole timeline didn't happen. And now, Nia takes his hand that one time and the teapot stays lost. No one has any memory of anything that happened except for Jay and Nia. The end. So I figure, to be fair, before I start ripping into this thing, let's go over some stuff that I like, because there is a lot to like. I like the pirate concept. It's not my favorite aesthetic personally, but it feels like a no-brainer as a theme for a children's show. Like, if we didn't do pirates this season, we would have to do them at some point in the future. Plus, having them be sky pirates is kind of fun. It also makes it very easy for me to make Dewey J comparisons.
I love this! The freedom! The wind in my mouth! The sky pirates! Sky pirates?
No, we're not the ninja!
Maybe I'll get killed by pirates.
pirates. Bet they'll pay attention to that story. Wait, why am I rooting for that?
Really? Am I that annoying?
Watch DuckTales 2017 if you haven't, by the way. I also really like the idea of like pieces of Ninjago disappearing and it turns out they're in the sky. That's a kind of cool mystery element. It's very visual. I like that they acknowledge the after effects of the previous season. Last season, they essentially flooded this town by the ocean in order to defeat the Preeminent, which is kind of the living embodiment of like the afterlife for cursed souls. But they go back to Styx, this town, and like all the people there hate the ninja. Things have consequences. I like that. Hint, hint, foreshadowing for later in the video. The ninja being on the run was a fun concept for that one episode. I would say do it longer, but they did. They did do it longer in the most recent season. I also like the disguise outfits that they wear. In general, I think this show needs more of the ninja wearing casual clothes. I like that they give Jay an eye patch in theory. They don't really commit to it. He's constantly taking it off and putting it on. I wish they just went all the way. I mean, you're resetting the timeline at the end of the season anyway. Just let him lose an eye. I also really like that when they get to jail, there's general population and super mean and dangerous population.
I took the liberty of taking you out of the general population and placing you in the super mean and dangerous population.
That's funny. I like that Ronan returns. He's a character from the previous season. I don't really like how he returns, that he is betraying and capturing the ninja. But you know, he turns around eventually, so I don't know. I also really like the Jay and Cole friendship this season. It feels really real and like well developed. Cole being a ghost is also well utilized this season. In the previous season, Cole got magically turned into a ghost. He didn't die. He just got ghostified. And it would have been really easy for them to just turn him back into a human at the end of the season, but they didn't. We get him as a ghost for this season too. They turned him back after this season, and while I would have liked some more time with him as a ghost, the fact that we got an extra season at all is honestly kind of impressive. Also for Cole, I like this joke.
I'm glad they finally came around. You know, I don't know what had gotten between them in the first place.
You did. You did that, bro. I like it. It's a simple joke, but I like it. Also, the wish battle. I really like the wish battle. I think that's a solid concept. Makes everything feel really frantic and fast-paced and crazy. Although I think I probably would have liked it more if it was even bigger, more ninja were involved. If you just make it bigger and make the wishes even more out there, it would have made for a great finale to the season, seeing as, you know, that's the main gripe people have. I like that the lighthouse comes back. It's a really cool location. Although I wish Zane would have been there for it, you know? Echo is fine. I don't really have any strong feelings about him either way. If anything, he makes for a major annoyance for future seasons when you know in the back of your mind that he's just sitting there in the lighthouse. The Ninja Replacements team. Yes, I love the Ninja Replacements team. We need more of the Ninja Replacements team. Not that one, but also yes, I like that one too, but we're not talking about that right now. I also love that it's Ed's idea. Jay's dad is like, I know you, son. You can make a whole new team, can't you? It's a nice way for his parents to contribute to the climax. I also like Captain Soto's assorted legs that he has throughout the season. There's like a fork and like a bike horn and a whisk. It's a fun gag. I hope that Pixel secretly runs the Ninja Replacement team while the ninja are like off in different realms. That's not really relevant, sorry. Little Nelson is introduced this season. He's the Make-A-Wish kid. He's a ninja fanboy. He's the purple ninja. He's fun. I like him better in later seasons when they give him, you know, more of a personality.
What's happening? Why are there giant snakes? And why are they falling out of the sky? And why are they made of fire? Wait.
But he's introduced here, so that's something. Side note, I don't think breaking both of your legs constitutes Make-A-Wish status? I guess it does in Ninjago. I like this one line.
Because reading is the first step to every adventure. Go reading, go!
Like, in a different universe where Ninjago is aimed at an even younger audience, this is absolutely a line that would happen. And they're also bad at acting. There's a lot of bad acting this season. You have the intro.
Do you have the golden scroll, Lloyd?
I sure do, Kai, but I don't know what it says.
There's also like when they're all learning to be pirates and Lloyd is particularly bad at pretending to be a pirate.
Are ye, matey? We be becoming pirates!
I am always down for bad acting jokes. And then, let me introduce to you my favorite part of the whole season. This line.
Hey guys, look at how many palm fronds I found!
Okay. Context. So Lloyd, Nia, and Cole are on the island and they're building this raft so they can try and escape. And they're getting materials so they can build this raft. And so Lloyd goes into this like jungle area and for whatever reason is insanely psyched that among all of these trees, he was able to find palm fronds.
Hey guys, look at how many palm fronds I found!
Like, Lloyd, obviously you're gonna find palm fronds. There's palm trees everywhere. But he's so excited about it. Guys, look at all these palm fronds I found. Like, he can't believe that there's so many in the middle of the jungle.
Hey guys, look at how many palm fronds I found!
I'd like to think that he just has a very special place in his heart for palm fronds. He really likes the aesthetic of palm fronds. He's thinking he can take a bunch of them back and hang them up all over his wall when he gets home. I think the fandom should in general incorporate more palm fronds into Lloyd fan art. You draw a picture of Lloyd, you're looking for a background, use some palm fronds. He loves those things. It brings me so much joy. He's just so genuinely surprised and happy.
Hey guys, look at how many palm fronds I found!
It's the best part of the whole season. And I want more people to embrace the Lloyd palm frond connection because it's real and it's canon and we need to capitalize on it. Anyway, unfortunately, that is where my list of positives ends. Let's get into some problems. Some of these are going to be just like objective, concrete problems, and some of these are just gonna be my opinion. You might like some of the stuff that I don't like, whatever, but I'm laying it all out there. Let's begin my list of grievances with the TV show. The ninja being famous and having a TV show feels weird. They don't really do too much with it. It's kind of the inciting incident, but then it never comes up again in this or future seasons. Why is Dareth the one running the TV show? Dareth is the quote-unquote brown ninja. He's a doofus who likes to tag along with the ninja. How does he have film industry connections? Additionally, for how loved they are by everyone in this opening, the public turns on the ninja pretty fast. Even though the allegations are pretty suspicious, I guess the Ninjago public is just really cynical. There's like this opening montage showing how the ninja are famous, and it is so cringy. I do not like it. There's this shot in the montage where the ninja run and they hide in like these phone booths and then they all go back, but the footage is just reversed. Like they just go out of the phone booths backwards and then go back behind the wall, and then why? Why is it backwards? Is that the joke? I don't get it. Like, this one shot has caused me so much mental turmoil. Now, in the previous season, when Jay saw the future, all the ninja saw their future, but when Cole looked into the magic ice, he didn't see anything. And it's revealed at the very beginning of this season that the reason he didn't see anything is because he can disappear as a ghost, which doesn't make sense. All the ninja, when they saw their future, they saw far into the future. And like I said, Cole turns back into a human after this season. So why did he see nothing? A lot of people were theorizing that him not seeing anything meant that he was dead that far into the future. And that would have been interesting to explore. It's a fun mystery, a fun plot thread to carry through the show. And now it just kind of has this cop-out ending. Don't get me wrong, Cole disappearing is a cool ability for him to have, but just the way it ends this thread, I don't like. Now, let's talk about Ninjago. Ninjago is Nautocon's home realm, the one that gets destroyed at the beginning of the season and that he's recreating for the rest of the season. So like, what's up with this place, huh? It's just a whole realm of Jinn? How does that work? Like, the existence of Jinn implies the existence of lesser beings that can utilize their wishes, right? So how does a society of just Jinn make sense? Also, why is it being destroyed like right now? They say that because its sister realm was destroyed, that it too is falling apart. Its sister realm being the preeminent, I guess, the big monster from the end of last season, which is in itself a realm. It's confusing. But because that one got destroyed, Ninjago is now also being destroyed. But like, they destroyed it at the end of last season. Shouldn't Ninjago have been destroyed then? Also, the idea of sister realms is a new concept to this season, and I don't think it ever comes up in the show again. How does that work? How do two realms get intertwined? And why were those two realms intertwined? If anything, like multiple afterlife realms, maybe they would be intertwined? But no, the one with all of the evil ghosts and the one made up of entirely Jinn? Those two? Why are those two connected? I don't get it. Let's move along to the stupid adoption reveal. For better or for worse, the show established like 4 seasons in that elemental powers are genetic. This obviously presented a problem for a couple of characters. We've already seen both of Jay's parents, and they definitely aren't elemental masters. Not to mention Zane, who again is a robot and doesn't have genetics. Anyway, as for Jay, him being adopted probably makes the most sense. But the way they do it in this season is so weird. Was this the best way to do it? To reveal it to him with all of this convoluted wish stuff going on where you're not entirely sure what's true and what's not? Jay being adopted in and of itself would have made for plenty of material for an entire Jay-focused season. He can learn more about not only his dad, but his mom, the one who had the powers. Maybe he has to go on this sort of scavenger hunt following clues to learn about them. It'd make for a great season, and there's a lot of potential to wring out of that. But because we just whatever wished it this season, all that potential kind of goes down the drain. And after it happens, they address it, but they don't really address it, you know? He just kind of goes to his dad's mansion and is like, this is cool. He doesn't process anything, it seems like. I just feel like it definitely could have been handled a lot better. Here's my next point. I haven't seen too many other people making this same point, but it's definitely a large part of why I don't regularly rewatch. The villains this season. They're so boring.
Jake and the Neverland Pirates, climb aboard me hearties and be a pirate true.
I do not care about any of them. A lot of people might say like, oh, Nautocon as a character is way too overpowered, which like, sure, maybe, but I just don't care. Something about Nautocon's voice, even when he's like being intimidating, it kind of like, it just goes straight through me.
You need to trust your captain. Your job is to control.
As my most, which you seem to be failing at. Let me be the first world
is to catch the ninja so that the sword of swords is powerful enough.
It makes my mind go blank. And when I try to care about Nautocon, I just end up confused more than anything. So like, how do his powers work, right? Because supposedly he can't have any wishes for himself, so he shouldn't be able to do like anything magical without it being a wish from someone else. But he's able to like teleport Kai to an island and delete code out of Zane's systems? How does he do that? Wouldn't that be a wish? Isn't that a magic thing? He should be able to do that, should he? He just did it of his own volition. Isn't that not allowed? And they repeatedly say that Nauticon getting infinite wishes makes him all-powerful, which makes sense. But if that's the case, once he becomes all-powerful, why does he have to honor other people's wishes still? Like, shouldn't he just be like, I wish that I don't have to do that? If you're an all-powerful person, you're beholden to no one. Why should he have to grant Jay's wish at the end? I don't get it. Also, he has this like magic blade that the souls get trapped in when they wish it all away. But it's revealed towards the end of the season that also anybody that's hit with the blade gets trapped inside of it. So why does Nauticon go through the trouble of trying to get people to wish it away rather than just whack him with his sword? Why isn't he whacking like everybody with his sword? Because he gets more powerful the more people that are trapped inside. So like, just keep whacking, dude. Why would you ever want to go through the process of manipulating somebody into wishing when you can just... and you're done? At the end of the season, Jay goes into the sword in order to save all of his friends. First of all, and this is a small thing, but like, why is the Falcons theme playing?
Where are we going, my mysterious friend?
That's not what that music is for. And why is Klaus trapped inside the sword? He was trapped inside the teapot, right? Are they magically connected? How does that work? And as for the rest of the villains, the sidekicks are just wildly uninteresting or kind of annoying. Oh gosh. Okay, let's see if I can remember their names. I know Clancy. A lot of people like Clancy, and he's fine. You have the like second in command, and he shoots. His name is Flintlock. His name is Flintlock. And then there's the Two-Face guy. Is his name Two-Face? No, that's a Batman character. What's his name? I don't know his name. Then there's the super buff girl. Her name is Delara? No, that's the name of Nauticon's love. Oh, we got him here with the she's not. And the monkey! There's a monkey. Every conversation between them just feels like such an exposition dump.
The Raid Zeppelin ain't made for speed. It's made for power. You understand?
You got the
And before we each
go anywhere.
Nauticon, we top of the ladder, you
Straight to
got
trouble.
another. He brought us
Required
together and
so
made
much
us
land.
whole.
I wish we had
The
more.
blue dog for instance, who went ahead and actually made him Two-Face.
Something about the way they talk, something about the writing, I don't know what it is, but it's just like, can we be done with this scene already? And there is another villain, the police commissioner. He changes sides, but he's a villain for the first half of this season. And continuing with the pattern, I don't care about the police commissioner. He's got a big giant mustache, but aside from that, I don't really like him. Again, he just feels blah. And that's not to mention the other police guys. There's like 2 detectives that they're like also trying to make a character. I'm not even gonna pretend like I might remember their names. I watched this season like 2 days ago. I mean, it doesn't take up that much screen time, but I don't care about any of the screen time that they do have. Here's another complaint a lot of people have. All of the main characters slowly disappear throughout the season. At the beginning, there's like Sensei Wu and Misako and Kai, and then Zane, and then Cole and Lloyd. At one point, everybody's gone except Jay and Nia. First of all, them wishing everything away doesn't make sense in like 80% of these scenarios. I do actually believe that Kai would go down the wish rabbit hole and end up in this horrible scenario and go, I wish for it all to go away. But the Zane one, especially, him wishing it all away, doesn't make any sense. His first wish is that Nauticon understands his meaning perfectly. Whatever the intent that Zane gives to his words, Nauticon is going to understand that and is going to abide by it. His second wish is that any harm that's done to him is done to Nauticon tenfold. So if he does try to pull anything, it'll backfire. Which, just to quickly note, Zane doesn't actually wish his second wish.
It is imperative that from here on out, whatever harm may befall me will be done unto you tenfold.
It doesn't really affect anything, just kind of a weird writing oversight. The way that Nauticon gets him to wish it all away is by deleting the pixel code within Zane's system. First off, again, how does he do that? Second off, doesn't that violate, like, both rules? Does emotional harm not count? And even then, Zane being a robot, code is, like, essential to his well-being. So deleting that is hurting him, right? That violates his second wish. And even if it doesn't, it violates the first. Taking away Pixel is inherently harmful to him. He knows that. So Nauticon not understanding that violates the first wish, right?
Understand the true intentions of the words that I speak.
Anyway, the one good thing about the scene is, like, they set it over a chess match, which I think is interesting. Again, I don't think it's executed especially well. Weird detail that I think might have helped. The rocking of the ship seems really fast to me in this scene. I think if it had been slower, it would have built tension a lot better. Anyway, once Pixel is gone, why would the wish that instinctually comes out of Zane's mouth be, I wish it all away? Wouldn't it be, I wish for Pixel back? I wish to undo my previous wishes? It's not like he's created something he doesn't want to deal with. He's lost something, so he'd want it back. Wishing it all away almost never makes sense. I do not believe that it would happen with the majority of characters. And in addition, making everybody go away limits the fun character interaction that this show is built on. I've ranted about this in the past. This is an ensemble show. It's built on the character interaction, and when you take away characters, it makes the show less fun. My next gripe, this is a small thing, but this season introduces very sparse and occasional internal monologue.
If only I could get a message out to my friends.
Why? The show's never done that before. It feels really out of place. Come up with a better way to convey these ideas. This is a cop-out, writers. Be better.
Women love mystery. When talking to them, less is more.
Another small thing. At one point, Jay and Nia combine their dragon powers together to make one joint dragon, and Nia says this line,
I guess water and electricity do mix!
No! No, they don't. This is a kid's show. You should not be saying that, like, even as a joke. No, 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 no. My next problem. Not enough Pixel.
Be careful, Zane. It is foolish to believe you can outsmart him.
Not now, Pixel!
It's not really a problem, more of just like a personal preference. My next point, there's just too much Jay.
'Tis I who lead this fearsome crew with dagger, swagger, daring, Dewey!
Look, Jay is a great side character and I love him. He is absolutely fantastic in portioned doses, but when he's the focus of like the whole season, so much so that we're taking other characters out of the narrative to give him more focus, it's just a lot of Jay. And it really doesn't help that for a good portion of the season, he's doing like really unlikable stuff. He keeps really important information away from the rest of the team for essentially no reason. He's just doing these awful things and it makes him feel like a bad person. And like, it's okay to give your main character flaws, but you also need to have sympathy for that character so you can, forgive them for their mistakes. And Skybound just doesn't have any real good sympathy built in for him. I think most of it is supposed to come from his whole Nia situation, that he wants to get the girl, but he can't. But that doesn't really work well because he's being really creepy and pushy about it. The story seems to realize that Jay needs to be punished in one way or another, but it doesn't seem to realize that he needs to be punished for any of the relationship issues that he's caused. The narrative seems to think he needs to be punished for all the lying that he's done this season, which he does. But that's not even the half of it. Jay has been insanely creepily possessive of Nia.
It's okay. Right now we're just having our first fight. Maybe a wish is what it takes. Maybe this is how she falls for me.
I mean, why would she laugh at that? She hates me. It's not like I'd expect anything to suddenly change between her and I.
What do you mean you can't wish for love? Let me take care of you, but the future is inevitable.
Think about it.
And even if you think the punishment is meaningful on that front, it doesn't really mean anything unless he learns and grows from it. His time on the ship leads him to immediately apologize to Cole about all of the lying when he sees him again. But he never has that "I'm sorry, I was wrong for doing that" sort of moment for any of the behavior that Nia's been subjected to. He never grows past it or realizes that what he was doing was wrong. So no sympathy for you. We're also supposed to have some sort of sympathy for him because he just found out he's adopted. But again, we don't really see him affected by it at all. If anything, he's like, dope, now I got this giant house and my dad was my childhood hero. I don't feel bad for him. He's not affected by this at all. I don't want to follow this guy around. I don't want to root for him. I don't care that he's trapped on a pirate ship. Leave him there. In addition to being morally unlikable, Jay is also just a lot less fun this season. He's typically been a comic relief character stemming from his over-the-top reactions, but for this season he's less funny and more just annoyed. Annoyed at Nauticon, annoyed at his friends, annoyed at the situation. And it's a bitter, salty annoyance, not a fun, lighthearted one that you can laugh at. In making him a main character, they tried to inject him with some seriousness and some angst. But by doing so, they kinda killed the part of him that was most likable. And here's where I get controversial, but the Nia arc kinda sucks. First of all, they choose to make Nia independent in all of the most annoying ways, at all of the most inconvenient times. Like, there's this moment where everybody's gone, it's just Jay and Nia, Nauticon is closing in, they know that he's after Nia specifically, and that Nia will grant him unlimited wishes for himself. And the police commissioner's like, let me help you escape, make sure Nia doesn't get kidnapped. And Jay's like, I got it. Don't worry. She's priority number one. And Nia's like, actually, I can take care of myself. And it's like, yes, trust me, we get it, we understand. But actually, you're in an insane amount of danger right now. Accepting help isn't the worst thing in the world. And when she's left alone to defend herself, she immediately gets kidnapped because of course she does. There was no way she was gonna fight off an entire pirate army by herself. I talked a lot about how Jay is unlikable this season, which might have led you to look kindly on Nia. But rest assured, she is plenty unlikable on her own. She's so defensive and aggressive all through this season, and it always comes off as just so bitter. And yeah, Jay has been really creepy since the breakup, and nothing excuses that behavior. But she's the one who left him in the first place on a total whim because a machine told her that one of his teammates would be a better match for her. And so she then snuck around flirting with him behind his back? That's a terrible thing to do to your boyfriend, even if you decide you don't like him anymore. She did not handle the initial breakup very well at all. And just like this season ignores Jay's mistakes, it also ignores all of Nia's. Both of them just have this really nasty, sour strain in them that's really pronounced this season. And weirdly enough, for Nia, I think this is supposed to make her look like a stronger female character. They constantly give lip service to the idea that like, oh man, Nia is the most powerful one, and she's strong, and she's independent, and she wants to make her own choices. And they even have the moment where she talks to Jay and she's like, I have been defined by you and by my brother my entire life. I want to have a choice in my own story. And then the choice that the writers decide that she needs to make, her big independent moment, is that she chooses to get kidnapped so that Jay can come and rescue her? I'm sorry, I thought that was like the complete opposite of the direction we were going in. If the whole core of her arc is that she wants agency, then the plot totally failed because it doesn't give her agency. She gets kidnapped, she gets mind controlled, and then she dies. This season doesn't succeed in giving her any more power or agency. It just talks a lot about how great it would be if she could. She says, I saw the future when I first met you. And they never go on to explain, what does she even mean by that? Does she mean it literally? Did she literally see the future? How does that work? How did that happen? Is this more like metaphorically, I knew the moment I met you sort of thing? And they just don't bother to explain it. They haven't put any thought into it. They just wrote up a lazy explanation for why she suddenly wants to take Jay back. And that's it. That's all they did, which is kind of insulting. This season doesn't want to put forth the work to make Nia a character who's actually strong and independent. And it makes it a lot harder that this season also has a lot of
there's not a city or village that we will not bother or pillage when we're up in the sky.
Yeah, that's kind of a hard hurdle to get past. Here's the thing. They say in this season that Nia doesn't want to be defined by who she's seeing. And sure, yeah, characters in the narrative do define her that way, and it's framed as a bad thing, but you know what else defines her that way? The narrative. This season touches on Nia's personal struggles for a moment, but the majority of the tension is built on their relationship. For as much lip service as this show likes to give girl power, at the end of the day, Nia is still something to be won over by the main character. The happy ending is still when he finally succeeds in getting the girl. Nia is used as a prop in the finale, serving as nothing but motivation for the male protagonist, again, with no agency. And there's a lot of smaller things that this season does too that just come off wrong. It uses the male gaze shot, which is just a film term for this particular type of shot where we're looking through a male character, observing a female character for her looks and nothing else. And this season has like the most awkward, uncomfortable feeling male gaze shot of all time. It makes me like viscerally uncomfortable. The male gaze shot does not work with Legos, just gonna put that out there. It also includes a book written by Jay's biological father, Cliff Gordon's Guide to Wooing Women. And it gives advice about how to lie to women because they need to be manipulated, and they like being manipulated. And weirdly enough, its advice seems to work.
This place will be our little secret.
Thanks, Dad. I owe you one.
So that's weird. They have this cat fight with like the only two girls of the season. It's filled with a bunch of just lazy cliches and it feels really eh. And here's the thing. Women don't need to like reject romantic relationships in order to be independent.
I'm nobody's girl!
But the relationships they do have should be equal and healthy and meaningful. And I think the main problem at the core of this season is they didn't actually fix the relationship.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream.
Despite this season being an excuse for all future seasons for the writers to ignore all of their problematic past, nothing actually happens to these characters that would fix the underlying problems. For a plot line that aims to tie up all the loose ends of the love triangle that started this whole breakup, will they, won't they thing, it doesn't ever address the love triangle. There's one line at the beginning of the season acknowledging that it happened.
And what's this about me and Jay still fighting over Nia? That's old news.
But they never talk about it. They never work out their issues. For Jay and Nia to get back together, this should have required like a lot more or a lot better development. Here's the thing. I don't think that this season should have been about Jay and Nia getting back together. It should have been about Jay finally being able to let go. That he needs to move on from Nia. You know, a sort of want versus need dynamic, a very common tactic used to develop most characters. Jay wants to get together with Nia again, but he needs to move on and find confidence within himself. It genuinely baffles me that there's never a moment in this season where Jay goes, oh, maybe the future I saw was wrong, but I'm okay with that. All through this season, he is intent that he needs a future with Nia. Whether he still thinks it's gonna happen or not, he still feels like he needs it. But he shouldn't. He needs to let go. The problematic half of the ship was never that Nia wasn't independent enough. The problematic part of the ship was that Jay was too overly clingy and obsessive. Jay ended up being a sort of toxic partner for her. It's not that Nia don't need no man. It's that Jay shouldn't need no woman. He needs to find value and self-worth and confidence that doesn't source from his relationship with Nia. The way I think this season should have gone is that they should have ended the season as friends who have reconciled their past. They're on good terms with each other. And then you have time to let their relationship grow in future seasons. And maybe you could have kind of a fun reversal where this time it's Nia that has to go and court Jay because he's still processing things. He's still figuring things out for himself. Maybe at one point she even gets rejected and she has this moment of like, oh, that's what that feels like. I'm just spitballing here, but maybe in the future they end up going to Mega Monster Amusement Park, the place where they had their first date together. And it's at night and everything is shut down, so it's kind of quiet and romantic and there's a little bit of tension in the air. And this time it's Jay who kisses Nia on the cheek. You know, thematic symmetry. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. Plus, that way it feels like they both equally want this relationship. As of right now, it definitely feels like Jay is way more invested and Nia is just sort of begrudgingly going along with it because she saw the future. If you have both of them wait at some point for the other, it feels like they both want it. It feels like an equal partnership. And isn't that what you're going for here? Now, with all of that out of the way, I hope you understand that the ending is definitely not the only problem with the season. But the ending still sucks.
What will we do with the drunken sailor? What will we do with the drunken sailor? What will we do with the drunken sailor early in the morning?
Let's address the elephant in the room here. It is a joke that the reverse the whole plot or the it was all a dream endings to stories suck. They ruined the whole thing. They're really, really hard to pull off well. And let's just say this season does not pull it off well. Now, I have heard some defenses of the reset, the main one being that by the time you get to the end of the season, things have gotten so crazy. So many giant status quo changes have happened that you've got to reverse them. If you don't reset everything, you're left with utter chaos as the ending, and that's not an ending. Nia is dying. The floating pieces of Ninjago are going to crash down back onto the city below, causing mass destruction and death. Lloyd is like an old man. You've got to reverse this stuff. But I believe there's a bit of a flaw in that argument because it assumes that it's an all or nothing scenario. Either you reset everything and everybody forgets, or we have to deal with all these crazy things. There is plenty of middle ground to explore. If it's true that the writers have written themselves into a corner where the only thing they can do is push the reset button, it's fair to acknowledge that they have the ability to rewrite stuff, revise, so that the point that they get to at the end of the season doesn't require a hard reset. Maybe they should have written better. Sorry. Now, as far as the big stuff people are worried about, here's a couple of options on how you could deal with those. I think an important thing to consider in all of this is the final wish. Because you can have the wish be anything. And our current wish is a little clunky. It's like 2 separate wishes. I wish that you took my hand and that no one ever found that teapot in the first place. That's 2 things, right? Like, those events aren't directly interconnected. We see that in the ending of the season. And can we pause for a moment to acknowledge that that wish is also really easy to manipulate if Nauticon wanted to? I wish that you took my hand. That could literally apply to any moment in their entire life. Nauticon doesn't have to make it the one that he's intrinsically thinking of. And no one ever found that teapot in the first place. Again, first place isn't really defined. Nauticon could just go, oh, Soto never found the teapot to trap me in the first place? Cool, love that wish, bro. I don't know, it's just frustrating when some wishes Nauticon deliberately twists and some wishes he plays entirely straight. There's no consistency, there's no logic to it. Anyway, the final wish just already feels like a little bit of a cheat, so we have some room to play around. Have the final wish save Nia's life without reversing time. That's an option. Another option is, again, just having her not hit with the venom to begin with. I know that's part of the heightening of the stakes, but again, in an ideal world, the love interest wouldn't be the sole motivating factor for the protagonist. It's probably better if Jay is motivated by some, self-confidence, inner strength sort of thing, rather than vengeance and sorrow for this girl he has a crush on. They're not even dating in this instance, but I feel like that's easily solvable without reversing time. Lloyd is also weird and old at the end of the season. Again, this is something that you could wish away if you wanted. It doesn't really fit the sort of grandiosity of a final wish, but it's an option. But if I may be so bold as to make a suggestion, you could keep Lloyd old. The season immediately following this one is Ninjago Hands of Time. It's a season that deals with time travel and that has weapons that can reverse people's ages. It might be kind of fun to have an old Lloyd around for a little bit longer. You could fix it in the next season. I don't know, I think it's an idea at least worth exploring. Plus, it would be kind of a cool parallel for what happens with Wu. In season 7, we have suddenly old Lloyd that the ninja have to deal with. And then in season 8, we have suddenly baby Master Wu that the ninja have to deal with. It's a fun thematic parallel. Again, I live for that stuff. And the elephant in the room, the mass destruction of Ninjago City. Again, I feel like this is something that a wish could deal with. Another option is maybe Nauticon just builds Ninjago over the ocean. There's an ocean like adjacent to Ninjago City. It's not that far of a distance. It would not be that hard to swing. And then all the land would fall into the ocean at the end of the new season. Maybe it would become like a cool, fun location of all these weird islands that used to be part of this giant city. I think it'd be cool. Or, you could just let the city be destroyed. It's not like Ninjago City hasn't been through destruction before, and it's going to plenty of times after this. They can rebuild. And also, having consequences for your story taking place is a good thing. Remember, I foreshadowed earlier? Things have consequences. I like that. Hint, hint, foreshadowing for later in the video. Stories are generally meant to have impact, to incite some sort of change. And the main problem with this ending is it refuses to allow any sort of change, except for the one specific narrow change, that being that Jay and Nia are now together again. And here's the thing, you don't have to take any of those suggestions. Maybe they're too big, but you know what the easiest way in the world would be to have this season have some sort of impact? Have the convoluted end wish, have the timeline be reset, fine. But have people remember. Have people remember about it. That way they can talk about it, benefit from the character progression that happened that season. It's the easiest fix in the world. Why not have at least the core ninja group have their memory? That way the people we're spending 90% of the show with can grow and benefit from the experiences that they've had this season. Currently, we have zero explanation for why it's only Jay and Nia who remember.
I remember it all.
I do too, but how?
Who cares?
So why not change that? It's the easiest way to give this season at least a little bit of impact on future seasons, giving people the ability to at least reference it, without, of course, it being a plot hole. And that, to me, exemplifies the whole problem with the ending. It's not just that the ending is bad, it's that there are so many easy ways to make it so much better.
Yo ho, a pirate's life for me.
So there you go. Those are my problems with Skybound. At the end of the day, Skybound is a fun pirate season where all the ninja get to make goofy wishes and the main ship can finally kiss again. And you know what? I can see why that's appealing. During the watch through for this video, I found myself liking more than I expected. If you haven't watched the season for a while, maybe check it out. There's some good stuff in there. And if this is one of your favorite seasons, maybe you can laugh at some of the plot holes on your next watch through. And for those of you who haven't watched the show, please do not start with Skybound. This is a terrible introduction to the show.
Shiver my timbers, shiver my sides. As strong as the wind and tide. Yo-ho-he-ho.
Oh gosh, depth perception.